Hey everyone, how's it going? Thanks so much for tuning in. In today's video, we're going to be checking out a super cool 1933 Pontiac. This thing's been at my shop for a little while now, but it's actually not my car, it's a client vehicle. And what a lot of you probably don't know is that several months back, my buddy Joe and I actually started our own shop. It's called K&J Design and Auto Works. We're on Instagram and Facebook, and I've got links to all of that down in the description below. I'm still working on the personal projects. I've taken a step back from doing car reviews as far as like taking the press cars and all of that, because we're really trying to focus on starting this restoration Restomod business, and it's going really well so far. Hopefully it'll be a really cool source of additional content as time goes forward. But with this car, we've finished everything that we were contracted to do, and it's turned out really good. I'm gonna walk you through the car and show you how cool it is first of all, but also talk about some of the stuff that we did, and of course get plenty of sound clips because this thing sounds really good. But anyway, so without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. This era of automotive design is just so cool. The car is widest at the back, and then it gets more and more narrow and then peaks up towards the radiator. You've got these huge fender arches and big side steps, and it's just so cool just the way the tail swoops out like that. What's really neat about this is that it was redone some time ago. It's an older build. I'm not sure when the car was originally built, but it was built to be a driver. So it doesn't have the original powertrain or drivetrain, suspension, or anything. All of it has been changed out to be able to drive this thing on a daily basis if you wanted to. And of course, I'll dive into all of that in just a moment. But let's go ahead and hop inside and start her up. Like I said, it's not perfect. It's got little, upholstery imperfections and stuff, but it still has held up very well. An all custom interior. Those are actually Chevy Cavalier seats that were redone. All custom gauges. It still has the original dashboard. Really nice. And it actually still has some old service records from, I think, the 50s and possibly earlier. I know this one's dated 57. Very neat. I actually don't know a whole lot about this car as far as the particular model of Pontiac that it is, so if there's anybody out there a little bit more educated than I am that wants to share some information in the comment section, I would be very appreciative. Fun fact for you, they actually used a lot of wood in the construction of these bodies. So that top section right there where you have that vinyl section, that's not a retractable roof or anything like that. That's actually part of the original structure and how they built these cars. The level of fit and finish and the technology with welding and everything just wasn't as good back then as it is today. And a lot of car manufacturers, instead of welding a whole roof skin, they would actually leave it open in the middle with wooden bows, and the structure would be covered with some kind of vinyl overlay or something, just because they wouldn't have been able to get the end product to look very good if that whole section was welded in. So just a neat little fact. And another thing too, one of the things we did to this car was replace the seal for the very back glass. The window trim that goes all the way around actually screws into a portion of the original wooden frame for the car. So you have a mix of wood, steel, and it's just fascinating to say the least. Just can't get over how cool these fenders are. And with the big headlights and of course the extremely loud horns, which of course I will sound off at some point in this video. Still has the original emblems on top right here. This was the original radiator cap. Very cool, and I'm pretty sure this had a straight 8-cylinder to begin with. Definitely a cool look. Alright, let's hop on in, start her up, and here she sounds. let this thing warm up, let's go ahead and check out what's underneath the hood. This thing's powered by a Chevy small block V8. I'm not sure what's been actually done to the motor, but it's a pretty nice setup overall, and it sounds amazing. There's an Edelbrock carburetor on top, a March Performance accessory drive system. The transmission is a 700R4, 4-speed overdrive. A couple of the biggest things we actually did to this car was install a completely custom power steering system, as well as air conditioning. This thing also has an aftermarket cruise control system. Like I said, it was absolutely built to drive. And it's a lot of fun, trust me. You've just gotta love the butterfly hood too. I will say they are pretty finicky to operate. There's actually a hook on the inside where when you undo the latch and lift it up, you hook it on top of that support bar going across the top of the engine. But it is definitely neat. On this side of the engine, you can see the AC lines, the dryer. We also did a complete service with the engine, of course. Like my personal projects, I got some Valvoline VR1 in here. It's always been my go-to choice for older engines, especially pushrod and flat tap and cam engines. It's got that high zinc and phosphorus content. Definitely good stuff. Got the compressor, the rest of the lines going out to the condenser. this thing sounds good. I need to look and see what kind of mufflers are underneath it. I know they're Flowmasters, I'm just not sure which particular Flowmasters. But just to give you a quick look on what the cockpit looks like, we've got the combination turn signal and cruise control stalk. This is an aftermarket tilt steering column. The lever for it's right back there. Got the headlight switch. Dimmer switch is still down in the floor. Of course, we'll honk that horn in just a second, but I want to make sure I give Joe plenty of notice because it'll probably scare the crap out of him. It's so loud. This original dash is in really, really good shape. We added this lower valence piece for the custom AC system, so there's vents all the way across. It's one of those compact vintage air systems. It sits underneath the dash, like all the way at the back. I had to cut down the original glove box and kind of make a custom one so the client could still put like a phone and wallet in there. So it's still functional, and all of the controls are just draped down in the middle right there, right beneath the ignition cylinder. So it turned out really, really nice and didn't take away really from the styling of the interior. This shifter is a low-car shifter. It's pretty nice. The shift lock on top. Yeah, very cool. Now I'm going to go ahead and shut her down. I'll give you a quick tour of the rest of the car, and yeah, that'll be about it. The taillights have been upgraded to LEDs, and there's actually an LED third brake light in the middle of that center cap. Those headlights are awesome. Like I said, this car was originally built to drive. Nothing underneath is factory, and it's probably a good thing if you're actually wanting to drive this on the regular. But in the front, it's got a Fat Man front end, which has double A-arms, coil springs, shocks, disc brakes, power brakes all the way around, actually, which is pretty nice. The manual steering system that was on this wasn't bad at all, but the owner wanted a little bit more convenience that a power steering system adds, so we actually got a steering rack from a Chevrolet Celebrity, but all new U-joints, new steering shaft, basically built it from scratch. We got the extra parts from March Performance to add the power steering pump to the existing accessory drive system, got the line kit, all of it plumbed up, and it turned out really, really nice. There's no bump steer. It's a lot more responsive than it was for sure. I'm very happy with how it came out.
New cars and stuff like that, I mean, yeah, it's squeaky, it's rattly, it's still freaking cool. You don't get this experience with new cars.
Nope.
New cars, it's all about, oh my god, how can I stay connected? How can I do this? Light that up. Electronics, everything. This is basic, bare bones, freaking just drive it, not worry.
It's just pure fun.
Yeah, absolutely is.
Isn't that power steering nice?
Oh yeah. I mean, when you can use one damn finger.
It's awesome.
See, the other thing I like about the Pontiacs, they're like the older Chryslers and stuff. The window is a lot shorter than it would have been on a Ford. The Fords are super tall.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. In the late 20s or early 30s on this, it's almost like it's got a factory chop.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. It gives it that good ratio of, 1 to 2. Chryslers were even worse, or the Dodge.
Yeah.
I was looking at a 32 Dodge buying it one time. Missed out on it, but I swear that windshield was probably another 1.5 inches shorter than this factory.
Oh, very cool. One of the more interesting aspects of building a car from this era is that most of the stuff you have to do is custom. So this car, even though it looks kind of big, it's actually really narrow. The proportions are so different from anything made in the last like 50 years. So you got to get creative with adding a lot of the stuff that this car has. For example, the engine. It was probably a straight 8. That doesn't take up a whole lot of width, so the narrow hood doesn't really matter. Chevy small blocks pretty much fit in just about anything, so, you know, as you guys saw, that was a nice, good tight fit in there. But everything else, like the battery, the power brakes, and everything are located underneath the car. And before I finish this video, I'll get the car back on the lift and kind of show you what it looks like underneath. But a lot of that stuff is kind of in the middle right there. This actually has a rear end from, I believe, a Ford Ranger. I was digging through some of the paperwork earlier, like a 99 or 2000 Ford Ranger. It has drum brakes in the back. Just very interesting to say the least. The front seats tilt and slide forward to make it easier to get into the back, which actually has quite a bit of space. Like I said earlier, the back is actually the widest part of the car. You can fit 3 people back there, no problem. It's a nice flat floor. There's built-in armrests on the side. It's a pretty cool place to be. And here's a quick look at the dash from the back seat. And there's the original body by Fisher tag. All right, let's hear how these horns sound, then we'll get the car back in the shop. I'll show you the underside right quick, and then that'll be a wrap for this video. All right, let's head underneath the car and check out some of those things I was talking about. There's the rear end. Simple leaf sprung setup. One-piece drive shaft. On the right side, we've got the battery. And on the left side, we have the brake booster master cylinder. There's a custom linkage to bring everything to the front up to the pedal. But everything is actually actuated underneath here, which is pretty cool. There's the transmission, oil pan, and I know it's a little dark, but you can get a better idea of the steering system we built and the front end. It's a nice car for sure. Well, everyone, that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope y'all enjoy. Be sure to check out K&J Design and Auto Works on Facebook and Instagram. Also, a big thanks to Valvoline for all of their support with the YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed already, be sure to, because of course, there's always a lot more content where that came from. And don't forget to leave a like down below because it really helps the videos a lot. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.